All right, today we're going to break down something that is, frankly, a huge deal. ISO 42001. This is the world's very first global standard for governing artificial intelligence. It's a brand new rulebook for AI, and trust me, it's a total game changer for anyone using this tech.
So let me just ask you something straight up. Your company is almost definitely using AI somewhere, right? Maybe you built it, maybe it's a tool you pay for, but are you actually governing it? Or is it just kind of running on its own? This is the exact problem this new standard is here to solve.
And here's why this is so critical. AI isn't just another program. See, traditional software is simple. It's built on logic that a human wrote down. It's predictable. You know exactly what it's going to do. But AI? That's a whole different beast. It learns from data. Its behavior changes. It evolves. And sometimes how it makes a decision is a complete mystery, that classic black box. The old ways of managing IT, they just can't keep up.
So, how do we get a handle on this? Well, that's where the solution comes in. A new, official rulebook designed for this totally new world of technology.
And here it is, ISO 42001. It just came out in late 2023, and it's the first international standard for an AI management system, or AIMS for short. You can think of it as a blueprint for any company to responsibly build, use, and manage its AI.
Now, probably the easiest way to wrap your head around this is with an analogy that's, well, it's just perfect. If you're at all familiar with information security, just think of this as ISO 27001, but for AI. It takes that same kind of structured, methodical approach and applies it to the wild, dynamic world of artificial intelligence.
And here is some really good news, especially for companies that are already in the ISO ecosystem. This new rulebook doesn't make you start from scratch, not even close. In fact, it's built on a foundation that's going to look really, really familiar. You see, ISO 42001 uses the exact same 10-clause structure, the harmonized structure, that you find in other huge standards like ISO 27001 for security or 9001 for quality. This shared DNA is an enormous advantage. It makes bringing it into your organization so much easier because the core ideas, leadership, planning, improvement, it's all familiar territory. And this really shows you the power of that design. ISO 42001 isn't meant to live on its own little island. It's designed to plug right into the management systems you already have. Your security, your privacy, your quality control, you just extend them to cover AI. You end up with one unified system for governance. It's pretty smart. Okay, so the structure's familiar. That's the easy part. But don't get too comfortable because this standard brings a fundamental change in how you have to think. And it all boils down to one word: risk. You know, in the classic InfoSec world of ISO 2701, risk has always been about harm to the organization. We ask questions like, will we lose data? Will our systems go down? It's a very inward-looking, self-protective point of view. Well, ISO 42001 takes that idea and just blows it wide open. The scope of risk gets massively bigger. Now, you have to think about harm to your organization, sure, but also potential harm to individuals and even to society as a whole. The lens just got way, way wider. And this right here is the absolute key. It's not a small adjustment. The source material calls it a fundamental conceptual shift. It means you can't just ask, how could this AI hurt our bottom line? You have to ask, how could this AI hurt a person? How could it harm our community? So how do you actually do that? How do you make this massive new view of risk a reality? Well, the standard gives you a tool. It introduces a brand new mandatory process that, honestly, is the heart of the whole thing. It's called the AI System Impact Assessment. The best way to think of it is as a formal, documented look into the future. Before you launch an AI system, you have to stop and systematically think through all the ways it could impact people and society, the good and the bad. The whole point is to be proactive, to spot the dangers before they cause any harm. The process itself is pretty logical. First, you brainstorm all the possible outcomes, from both using it as intended and, well, people using it in ways you didn't intend. Then, you look at how those outcomes affect real people, individuals or groups. After that, you zoom out and look at the big picture, the societal impacts. And the last step, you have to write it all down. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about the big thorny issues. The assessment forces you to ask tough questions. Is this system fair or is it biased? Is it transparent? Could it harm someone physically or mentally? What about their finances? What are the human rights implications? These are the essential, difficult questions the standard demands you answer. So let's just pull all this together. Why is a standard like this dropping right now? Why is it so incredibly important at this exact moment?
I think this quote just nails it. This is not a technical manual for your data scientists on how to write better code. No, this is a playbook for business leaders. It's a management framework, a set of rules and processes to make sure that AI is being governed responsibly across your entire organization.
And you might be wondering if this applies to you. Well, chances are it does. If you build AI, use someone else's AI, or sell a service powered by AI, this is for you. And crucially, with major regulations like the EU AI Act now a reality, a framework like this becomes your roadmap for proving you're following the law.
So in the end, this is about so much more than just ticking some compliance box. Adopting this standard is a real strategic advantage. It helps you build trust with customers who are getting, frankly, a little nervous about AI. It gets you ready for the wave of regulation that's coming. And maybe most importantly, it gives you the guardrails to innovate safely and responsibly without accidentally doing real damage.
So we'll end right where we started. Your AI systems, they're learning and changing every single second. And the crucial question this new standard leaves us with is a simple one. Is your governance learning and changing right along with it?